So I'm here with Steven Willmott from 3Scale. You guys have announced something in the last little while. Do you want to tell us about that a bit?
Yeah. So we've just announced integration of our API management framework with Akamai and with CD networks, which are global CDNs. So it basically allows anybody with especially with content-focused APIs, to deliver their content over a CDN, but still have rate limiting, access control on keys, analytics, and all of that stuff that we provide to customers.
It kind of feels like there's an opportunity for folks that want to get their API out around the place, and you guys in the API management space have realised that you should focus on what's core, and you need to give those people the maximum opportunity they have to get their stuff out quickly, and that is via CDN.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I think if you look at content sites today, there's the whole spectrum of those guys that just serve traffic directly, and then you obviously go to big media, and then they serve via Akamai and big channels that they're already using, so that what we feel is kind of adding that API access to those channels really helps them kind of add their API into the way they normally do business.
Sure.
And Akamai obviously is kind of one channel. It's a very high, can be a high cost channel, but then we also integrate with CD networks, so it goes right the way down the spectrum. So it's just like a lot of different opportunities.
I mean, it's interesting because traditionally, delivering stuff via Amazon has been seen as cheap and commodity, and CDNs generally, obviously there's different levels within the different CDN providers, but CDN is seen like sort of the top shelf way of doing things. It tends to be expensive, and keen to hear how it works out in terms of pricing, in terms of comparison.
Well, I think that might be a bit of a misconception, because if you look at the data rates of how many gigabytes and terabytes you can deliver per month on CDNs, as soon as you get into a reasonable volume of content that you're delivering, it's a very cost-effective solution, even compared to just the bandwidth that you have coming in and out of an Amazon server or wherever else. And obviously, you offload your origin from all that traffic, so you don't have to handle all that traffic to your origin, which means you can have less machines at your core, which also reduces your cost. And the advantage of the CDN is obviously you're pushing the content to where your customers are. Sure. So especially if you're serving mobile, the round-trip time to the edge node from a mobile device is much less than it would be to your origin. So
sure,
there's definitely trade-offs.
And so what would you see as the ideal customer for the CDN player versus the ideal customer for the traditional API play?
Certainly if you have APIs which are focused primarily on getting content out, so it could be media, significant data sets which don't change rapidly over time, and they're things which are eminently cacheable, then definitely a CDN is a great way to go, because you can deliver that and still create all the access control layers on top of it, but you don't have to kind of serve all that content from your origin. If you have an API which is much more a write API, you can still use the system, so people can still write through the edge nodes to you, so they act as a kind of a firewall.
But there's less advantage.
But there's less advantage of going via the edge node network, yeah.
Sure. And generally, how are things going for you guys? How are things going in the API space, and how are things going for you guys specifically?
So we see API space is just amazing. We're seeing month on month, we get 20 to 30% more inquiries for our services, which is just a crazy growth rate, and we're pretty sure that's reflected across other players. The number and diversity of APIs that are being put out is great, and what we're especially seeing, especially mid-sized companies and smaller companies, are starting to see the opportunities, and for us that's a great thing. So we're adding 5-6 customers a month, and there are a lot more which are playing around with the system, and then we can see a lot of growth.
Awesome.
So.
All right, thanks for your time, Stephen.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.